Hey guys, this is Haley from oneonrabbits.com, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I clean out my litter boxes. I decided to make this video after I saw a lot of people using puppy pads in their litter boxes, which really isn't that safe for bunnies. And so I wanted to make this video to show you guys just how easy it is to clean out a litter box with just using litter and bedding inside. So let's just jump right into the video. So the first thing I'm going to be showing you guys is how I spot clean my litter boxes. I do this about midway through the week, and I clean the litter boxes fully about once a week. I'm able to do this because I use very large litter boxes, which I strongly recommend everyone use for their bunny. So the first thing I do is grab all of the litter boxes out from the litter box area, and then I go ahead and set it by the trash can that I have in the bunny room. And basically what I do is I take my hand, you could use a glove if you want, or a dustpan. I just scrape all of the hay into the trash can, and along with that, a lot of the poop tends to be in there as well and go into the trash can as well. Then I go ahead and take this dustpan and I basically just scoop out any of the wet parts of the litter box. So I use Carefresh and pine pellets, which really helps with absorbency and odor control. So I just scoop out any of the wet Carefresh and any of the sawdusty type pine pellets that have gotten wet, and just simply dump them into the trash. And normally the bunnies pee in like little specific areas, so it's really easy to just take those areas out. But then I go ahead and take the dustpan and basically mix all of the litter together. So this just really helps stir everything up and make sure everything's all nice and even and clean. And then I go ahead and flatten everything out. But obviously, because we took some of the litter out, you are going to need to replace some. So I just go ahead and sprinkle the pine pellets anywhere in the litter box where they're missing some. I like to put it underneath the Carefresh because pine pellets are a little bit hard on rabbits' hocks. So I like the pine pellets to be underneath and then the Carefresh on top. So then I go ahead and grab a couple handfuls of Carefresh and sprinkle it on top of the litter box where I might be missing some Carefresh, just to make sure everything's nice and soft and squishy for their nice little hocks. Then I go ahead and grab the next litter box and do it all over again. I know a lot of people are concerned about hay waste. If you wanted to pick through this and find hay that isn't peed on and stuff, you definitely could. I am just too lazy for that, so I just scrape it all off and dump it in the trash. And again, go back through with the dustpan and scoop out any of the wet areas. Then once again, I go ahead and mix everything up with the dustpan and go ahead and refill the litter where I'm missing litter. And then I do have this small corner litter box simply because Ebony likes to pee in this one specific corner, so I just put a litter box there. Since this litter box is so small, you can't really spot clean it. You basically just have to dump the whole thing out and do a full clean every time. So I do clean this one about twice a week. So basically I just dump everything in the litter box, quickly spray it out with a vinegar and water mixture, which is just 50% water, 50% white vinegar. And I use a paper towel and just dry it off basically and add more litter. So I just add pine pellets on the bottom and then I take Carefresh and add Carefresh on top. I like to make sure there's about 1 inch or 2 inches of Carefresh just to make sure it's nice and soft on their hocks. So next I go ahead and just vacuum up the litter box area, just kind of behind the litter boxes and everything, because hay does tend to fall back there. So this is just really easy to do with my shop vac. Everyone always asks what shop vac I have, so I will link it down below, but it's amazing. It literally sucks up huge piles of hay, which is great if you're lazy like me. So then I just go ahead and put the litter boxes back into the litter box area, and they basically look brand new, even though they were just spot cleaned. And I pull the hay out so that the bunnies have nice access to hay. And that's basically it for my spot cleaning. So then at the end of the week, I go ahead and do kind of the same thing. I take all of the litter boxes out of the litter box area, but this time I dump everything into the trash can. I really love these big trash cans. They're literally the same ones you put out on the street for the garbage man, basically. But my giant litter boxes fit in there and I just dump them in and it's great. Then I just go ahead and take a 50-50 vinegar water spray and and spray down all of the litter boxes. And my sprayer was running out of solution, so it was taking forever to spray it. But yeah, I just need to refill it. I was just being lazy like always. And I just let them sit for a little bit, and then I just take some paper towel and dry them out. You could do like a major deep clean if you wanted and like spray these out in like a hose or bathtub or something. But to be honest, I don't find that I need that often. So this is what I do on a normal basis, and I would only ever deep clean it if I felt like the litter box wasn't getting clean enough, but I've never really had that problem. So the one downfall to using storage containers is that they have these little divots on the bottom that make it a little bit harder to clean, just because like little pieces of litter get stuck in those little divots and cutouts and stuff. But honestly, I don't think normal litter boxes are even close to big enough for rabbits, so I personally really like these storage containers. Another option would be to use like the bottom of an old store-bought cage. I don't think those have divots in them, so that could be an option if you have one of those laying around, because those tend to be very big as well. But then after I dry everything out, I go ahead and grab some litter and I just dump pine pellets on the bottom. You want to make sure that you have a very thin layer of pine pellets. You almost kind of want to see the bottom of the litter box underneath the pine pellets, like that's how thin of a layer you want. If you make it too thick, the pine pellets will actually expand when they get wet and your litter box could overflow. So that's why you don't want like thick layers of pine pellets. But then I go ahead and I add kind of a thick layer of Carefresh on top. Again, I put like 2 inches or so on top of the pine pellets. This really helps with odor control. It helps making the litter box last longer. I would never only be able to clean my litter boxes twice a week if I didn't use Carefresh along with the pine pellets, because the Carefresh just helps so much with absorbency and odor control. Without it, I would be changing my litter boxes so much more often. And you don't want to just use Carefresh, in my opinion. It's just Carefresh is not the greatest at odor control on its own. So adding the pine pellets really do help. And pine pellets are pretty cheap. So again, just adding a thin layer of pine pellets on the bottom of this litter box, and then going through and adding big layers of Carefresh on top. This way it makes the litter last a lot longer. I'm only using new Carefresh once a week, so I don't go through a ton of Carefresh because, you know, Carefresh is a little bit more expensive. So this method works really great for me because I'm not wasting any litter or anything. Again, I'm doing the same thing with the litter box I did halfway through the week, just spraying it out real quick, wiping it up, and then adding more litter. Really nothing that special. This one's pretty easy to do since it's so small, but again, I just use this because my rabbits like to pee in that one little corner and I have no idea why. So just adding the pine pellets and dumping some Carefresh in there, and that's basically it. Then I go ahead and do the same thing I did halfway through the week and vacuum up all of that hay that kind of goes behind the litter boxes. And then today I spray these plastic mats that I have underneath my litter boxes. These are office chair mats that you can buy on Amazon, and they're basically used for offices so that the rolling chairs don't scratch the floor or don't get stuck in the carpet. But I really like them to put underneath of my litter boxes. I even have one under my cat litter box, just because if they ever like have pee dribbles that fall off or anything, you can just spray it with vinegar and water and wipe it right up. So it's really great because for some reason my rabbits like flick pee driblets out of their litter box. I know it sounds gross, but that's why I have these mats, because I can just spray it and wipe it up and it's good as new. And there I am, just putting the litter boxes back in, getting the hay out, and there we go. That's it. That's the finished product, and that is how I do my litter box routine. It's really simple. It takes me maybe 10 to 15 minutes twice a week, and that's it. Honestly, it's not that hard. So I really hope this helps you guys and helps you figure out how to clean your litter boxes better or set up your litter box better. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want links for anything I've talked about in this video, please check the description box below, and I will see you guys very soon on a new video. Bye!